What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now, the other day on my live stream, and if you guys want to check out my live stream, the link to that is down in the description of this video. I stream over on twitch.tv every single day besides Sundays. But basically, I was trying to go ahead and check out Battlefield 2042, grind out the battle pass, try to get more attachments for my weapons and stuff of that sort. And the game wouldn't let me log in. So I thought, what else could I go ahead and play? I looked at my catalog and I thought to myself, you know what? Let's hop back on Battlefield 5. Now, sadly, for me personally, Battlefield 5 doesn't work on my PC. It black screens all the time. If anybody knows any, solution for this, let me know down in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. But basically, every single time I load up this game, the whole screen just goes black and it shuts it off. No error codes, no error messages, just basically black screens, ends the game, and I have to restart again. And it keeps me going through that same exact cycle over and over and over again. But lucky enough, on my stream, I was actually able to get a little bit of playtime in Battlefield 5 before I went ahead and black screen. Now, sadly, I'm not going to be able to get any footage for you guys because I tried to log back onto this game later, and it's doing the same problem to me. So I can't really get gameplay. I'm going to be showcasing some old Battlefield 5 gameplay for you. But really, what sparked this video today is how insanely different these games are from one another, Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042. And it's crazy to me because every single game that releases in the franchise always tries to one-up the previous introduction, right? Modern Warfare 2019 compared to Modern Warfare 2, the next one that's coming out, I guarantee that even though there are going to be some similarities, they're going to try to one-up their game. They're going to try to polish off the game more. They're going to try to make it look better. The animations are going to be better. The sound engine is going to be better. Basically, all the fundamentals are going to be improved upon. Same thing happens in Battlefield, hopping from Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4 to Hardline to Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5. Every single game was basically improved compared to the last one. But 2042, on the other hand, almost seems like they took 20 steps backwards. Now, I already knew that Battlefield 2042 didn't look up to par compared to other Battlefield games, but like I said, it's been such a long time since I actually dabbled in Battlefield 5 that when I finally was able to load up this game again, it completely blew me away. Between the sound engine, the music choice for this game, the screams of the soldiers, the environments, the vehicles, the weaponry, the gunplay, the movement, it seems like Battlefield 5 was supposed to come after 2042. 2042 I could totally see being released around like Hardline or something of that sort. And then obviously Battlefield 1 and then Battlefield 5. It would completely make total sense because these games feel like upgrades. But not a single day in my life did I think that 2042 was going to be this much of a drastic downgrade. Now, of course, Battlefield 5 had its fair share of issues, and when I went back and played it, those issues are still shining. The lack of ammunition and the health problems, having to constantly run away from the action and the fights to go regen your health or to go stack up on some more ammunition, having to constantly get ammo before you even go to the fight, or else you won't get enough rockets or you won't get enough C4 to actually handle anything out there. It's a lot of things that were very tedious from time to time that made the combat flow kind of crumble. And those were really the main things that pulled Battlefield 5 back. But when it came to having a good Battlefield atmosphere, this is very crucial as well. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. I said it in multiple videos in the past. But the atmosphere of a Battlefield game is almost, if not just as important as the gameplay itself. If you can't be immersed into the actual battle that you're fighting, then it's not a Battlefield game. And Battlefield 5 does it perfectly. Even down to the attention to detail within the Pacific update. If you slap on a flamethrower, it's just absolutely absurd. Comparing side by side, my mind is blown. Using a flamethrower in Battlefield 5, you can absolutely, just spray down, hose down a bunch of enemies who are hiding out in a bunch of grassed out areas. But not only is it going to burn your enemies, it's going to burn the environment. The whole environment burns around with the flamethrower, The environment interacts to what we do with it. And that's what makes Battlefield shine so much and helps Battlefield stand out from other games, is that the environment evolves, whether it's Levolution, Destruction, or even things like that, where I said where you pick up a flamethrower and you just burn all the grass around you and kill all the campers hiding out in it. Those type of moments are what makes Battlefield so special. And Battlefield 2042 lacks all of that. 2042 is the most bare-bone, basic game I've ever seen in my whole life. And like I said, it doesn't represent Battlefield in my personal opinion. And even though this game is getting better, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I've been honest in the past as well, the game is improving. They're polishing off the bugs, they're polishing off the glitches, they're adding in more content into the game. It's definitely better than it was day one. And honestly, out of all three games when it comes to Battlefield 2042, Halo Infinite, and Call of Duty Vanguard right now, I'd probably say Battlefield 2042 is the most enjoyable out of the bunch. And it's it's crazy for me to say that because, like I said, I talked so much crap about this game in the past. But truly, I have to give DICE the props that they deserve for the work that they put into the game. But no matter how much work they put into this title, it's not going to give me the environment that I want out of a Battlefield game. And I have to go ahead and ask you guys, am I going crazy or do you guys agree? Because going back and witnessing all of these other experiences, and I'm not talking about Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 because I will be honest, those games are showing age. And even though they're fantastic and some of the best Battlefield games in the whole franchise, and I love them to death, and I could still play them daily if I really wanted to, they're still showing their age. But when it comes to 2042, it doesn't seem like they really pushed for next gen, and that's how they advertised it as well. That's why I'm so disappointed when it comes to 2042, is that the developers advertised this game as a next gen title. But I think the developers have a different idea and concept of what next gen means for Battlefield compared to the community. I think that the developers think next gen means more players, when in reality, next gen should be adding on to what Battlefield is already good for. Marcus actually came out and said that Battlefield, the franchise, has tons of untapped potential. And I completely agree with that because I feel like the potential is being pushed in the wrong direction right now. Battlefield 5, I keep bouncing back to it because that's what this whole video is about, but Battlefield 5, I feel like I would consider that, Battlefield 1, games like that, that is what I would consider next gen out of the Battlefield franchise. They aren't pushing numbers. They're not trying to make the battles bigger, but they're trying to make the battles badder. They're trying to add more destruction. They're trying to add more evolution. They're trying to add more spectacles. And that's what helps Battlefield, like I said, stand out from the rest of the crowd. Yes, Battlefield does have fantastic gunplay. Yes, Battlefield does have fantastic team play. And there's a lot of other aspects to get into the Battlefield games. But when I think of the future of Battlefield, when I think of this game 10 more years down the road, yes, I would like to see more numbers added into the mix, but let's be real here, it doesn't matter how many players are added into the mix, that's not going to add any more intensity. With all honesty, I could barely even tell the difference of playing a match that's 128 players compared to a match of 64 players. The only difference that I see is the connection issues of trying to make 128 players actually work within that game. The game runs 10 times smoother when you're in a 64 player lobby, but that's the only difference. I don't get any more intensity, I don't get any more action with 128 players. I get just as much action in a 64 match of Conquest, on Exodus Conquest, or on a classic map, whatever you want to think of. I get way more action on that than I ever would with 128 players. And again, a lot of you guys might not agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, leave it down in the comment section. Do you think 128 players is the best way to push for the Battlefield franchise? But with all honesty, I just don't see that being next gen. I don't see that being worthy of saying that this game is, the next big thing for Battlefield, because I don't see it whatsoever. Even the rocket launch in Orbital just doesn't live up to my expectations. It's cool, it's badass, it's the best event in Battlefield 2042, and it's the only event in Battlefield 2042, but I mean, I'd rather watch behemoths, like the big blimps in Battlefield 1, crash and burn down to the ground. I'd rather watch that than watch the rockets every single time. And it's more eventful, there's actually people in those blimps. It's a real live events that are going on that we, the players, are controlling, and they're happening live in front of our own eyes. It makes Battlefield special. And to be honest, this is what I want to see them focus on when it comes to the future of this franchise. I don't want them to focus on the numbers. I don't want them to focus on the player count. I want them to focus on the spectacles. I want the next Battlefield game to feel alive. I want the actual battlegrounds to feel like we can interact with it. I want to feel a part of something. Battlefield 2042 just feels like a pub stomping game. It doesn't feel like a Battlefield game. It feels like a pub stomping game. It feels like Apex Legends or Call of Duty, where you just go in and you try to frag out as much as you want. Interacting with the environment comes last in the things that I want to do in Battlefield 2042. The only thing that I get enjoyment out of is pub stomping, going for high kill games, and blah blah this, blah blah that. That's all that matters. That's why 128 players was so hyper focused, because that's what the developers were aiming for. They were aiming for people to get a good time out of the game by getting a lot of action. But in all reality, 128 players doesn't bring a lot of action. What brings a lot of action is good map designs, good flag layouts, and a lot of in-game interactions, allowing us, the players, whether we're in jets, whether we're in helicopters or tanks, or just on the ground with a rocket launcher, whatever we do to the environment, we want it to interact. That's what next gen feels like to me when it comes to Battlefield. And that is the untapped potential that they need to truly focus on. Could you imagine the events that we see within Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 5, times 10? That is when I would truly consider that this franchise is finally going a step up. But until they do that, they're just going to keep stepping backwards because that's all 2042 feels like. Even the graphical quality feels like a massive step down compared to previous titles. The lighting in Battlefield 5 is better. The gameplay in Battlefield 5 is better. The sound engine in Battlefield 5 is better. Literally, all aspects of Battlefield 5 are much better than 2042. It just doesn't add up to me. But I really need to know your guys' opinion. Do you guys think that Battlefield 5 feels more next gen than Battlefield 2042? And it's hilarious saying this because Battlefield 5 was so hated in the beginning, but I really do feel this way after finally getting to play it a little bit again. Pushing aside some of the other, complaints I had day one with the game, it's actually a lot of fun, and I feel just so much more immersed in the experience while playing Battlefield 5 than I would ever feel playing Battlefield 2042. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. But say hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with us, do we do so? We're Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch, link that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you all next one. Peace out.